All right, to access the permanent standards file, the reason there's a password required is because you really shouldn't be altering or changing the information there. Now, the reasons that you might want to change the information is, or are, that you do not have any standards for your country or province or state entered in there. So I've already entered some for like the States or Australia and some for Canada. But say that you're from a country or province or state that doesn't have the outcomes entered, you have to enter them yourself. And this is where you would place them in the permanent standards file. Another reason, maybe there's some error in one of the outcomes that I've entered in. So you might have to go in here to fix that error. Now, how this works is there's a permanent standards file, and then there's a current standards file. So the permanent standards file would have, that I've set up, would have all the grades from kindergarten to 6 for, let's say, your country or province or state. You might only be teaching grade 3, so you only need the grade 3 standards for that year. And the next year you might teach grade 4, so you would get rid of those grade 3 standards and bring in the grade 4 standards. So the current standards are more fluid. They get deleted every year, and they get new ones get imported or brought in from that permanent standards file. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click in a password, and I'm going to type in I space understand. Oops. That's the password, and then you press add edit. Now it says any changes to this file will only be made in the permanent standards file. To use these changes, you will then have to clear any current standards and get the standards for your grade again. What that means is, again, I said there's 2 files. So if I make changes or add things to this, or especially any changes, they do not show up in my current ones, my current standards. So if I'm teaching grade 4, they might, and 5, they will not show up in my current grade 4 until I clear them out and then bring them in again, because this is the permanent one that has all the permanent changes. So I'm going to press OK. And in here, this has a list of all the standards for every grade. And if I scroll, you can see 6s and 4s and so on. So I would find the one I want to change and just click in the field, and then just, add what I want, change what I want, and then basically I'm done. As soon as I press the home button to go out of this, to go back home, these changes will automatically be set. So I'm just going to get out of that. I'm not going to make the change. Now if I was adding outcomes or standards, I just press the plus button, and it'll bring up a blank one at the bottom, and it's usually, it'll continue from where you left off. So I must have been entering a grade 4, and you'll see 1.6 here is healthy self. It kind of puts in the last information from the last one, because usually if I'm doing math, I'm doing grade 4 math, and then all the outcomes for grade 4 math. It just makes it a little faster to enter. So if I have to change something here, I'll just click in there, so make this 1.7, let's say. I'm going to keep it as health, and then I type in my new outcome, and that'd be it. Then I press plus, and you'll see again it creates another one for healthy self, and I would click in here, and let's say it's a new one. Let's call it 1.0, and it's not going to be health. It's going to be, but let's call it science, and it's not one of these science things. It's not been entered yet, so I'm going to press other, and I would type in whatever I want. I'll just back this out, and I'm going to call this, it's science, let's say it's space, just even though space is one in there. I'm going to press save. So now you'll see science, space, and then I type in my outcome. And when I'm all done, I just have to press the home button and all of this is saved. Now I'm going to delete these last two by pressing the little garbage can at the end. Delete this standard, delete it, and I'm going to delete this next standard. Delete. Now, I'm going to go home. Any changes I made are not going to show up in my current standards. So we see where it says View Current Standards. If I click that, these are my current standards. These are the ones I've been working with all year. And you see the different standards I have. I'm going to scroll to the top. You'll see that in my grade 4s, takes a little bit to load, that some of them have this check mark on the end. That means that I've done an assessment on them. As soon as you create an assessment, it automatically checks off here that it's been at least assessed once. Now, if I clear all these, delete all these, and then bring the new ones in, it will not remove them from the assessments I've already done. As long as I'm bringing the same standards back in, they'll still remain. It'll show that it's been assessed, and it won't delete them from or clear them from any assessments that I've already marked. So I'm going to select all these standards by pressing that little select button at the top, and I'm going to go up to this little menu button with the 3 bars at the top, and I'm going to delete selected standards. So it says delete all 433. I say OK. Now it's empty. I need to add the new ones back in that I changed or added to the permanent file. So I'm going to press the plus button at the top. It says get standards for a grade. Yes. And I'm going to select the grade, grade 4, and then submit. It'll bring those standards in. Do you need to import any other grades? I do because I'm teaching a grade 4 or 5, but you might not need any more. So you just press no, but I'm going to say yes. And now I select my grade 5s and submit. Do I need any more grades? No. I'm going to press no. The selected standards have been imported. Press OK. Now let's go view these. I'm going to press View Current Standards again. Now you'll see my grade 5s are all here. They're the last ones I brought in. I might need to press this Show All button. If that's there, it means some of them are actually kind of hidden in the search right now. So it kind of hid the grade 4s when it brought the grade 5s in, so it wouldn't erase over top. So I'm just going to say Show All, just so I can see them all. Show All button. And there's my grade 4s, and I'm just going to scroll up to the top. Oh. And you'll see some check marks there, a few check marks, that these were ones I've assessed before, and they're still checked as being assessed.